This is an evidentiary hearing before the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and a cause docketed before the commission is cause number 46323U, captioned as Applications of Crossroads Utilities, LLC for a new schedule of rates and charges for wastewater service. Notice of the time and place of the hearing was given as provided by law by publication in Marion County's Indianapolis Star on April 9th, 2026, and Dearborn County's The Register on April 16th, 2026. These are newspapers of general circulation, and these publications were made at least 10 days prior to the date of the evidentiary hearing. The proofs of publication of the notices have been received by the commission and are now incorporated into the record of this cause by reference and placed in the official files of the commission. Notice has also been given to the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor and other interested parties. May we have appearances, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Appearing on behalf of the petitioner, Crossroads Utilities, LLC, Nikki Schultz of the law firm Bose, McKinney & Evans.
Your Honor, for the public, Dan LeVay of the Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor.
Thank you. Will all who know themselves to be witnesses in this cause please stand? Raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you will give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. This time, petitioner will offer into evidence the following exhibits. Petitioner's Exhibit 1, which is Crossroads Utilities, LLC's small utility application filed November 12th, 2025, inclusive of Schedules 1 through 9. Petitioner's Exhibit 2, which is the Memorandum of Dana Lynn to the IURC Secretary, filed December 12th, 2025, confirming the small utility application is complete. Crossroads Exhibit 3, which is the set of work papers filed in the docket on April 6, 2026, inclusive of Work Paper 9-2, Work Paper 7A1, Work Paper 6N16, Work Paper 6M14, Work Paper 6J10, Work Paper 6F6, Work Paper 6E5, Work Paper 5, open paren 2, close paren, Work Paper 5, open paren 1, close paren, Work Paper 7B2. Crossroads further offers into evidence petitioner's Exhibit 4, which is Crossroads Utilities December 31, 2023 IURC Annual Report. Petitioner offers Exhibit 5, which is Crossroads Utility LLC's December 31st, 2024 IURC Annual Report. And at this moment, Crossroads offers into evidence its Exhibit 8, which is Crossroads Utility LLC's responses to the presiding officer's May 8th, 2026 docket entry questions filed on May 14th, 2026, including attachments DR IURC 1, 2.1, 2.2, and 9.
Any objection from the public?
No objection, Your Honor.
Hearing no objection, I will show petitioners Exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8 admitted into the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. This time, petitioner calls to the stand Michael Myers.
Your Honor,
Can you hear me okay?
we had talked about putting the OUCC's case on before cross-examination of Mr. Myers.
Okay, that's fine.
There'll be some documents that we'll be referring to that haven't put into evidence yet, and so we'd like to have them in evidence before we question Mr. Myers.
Unless there are objection, I see no issue with that.
That's fine. Mr. Myers, just hang tight.
So from the public.
Thank you, Your Honor. The AUCC would offer Public Exhibit Number 1, which is the testimony of Margaret Stull. Public Exhibit Number 2, which is the testimony of Jason Compton. Public Exhibit Number 3, which is the testimony of Sean Dellinger. Public Exhibit Number 4, which is the testimony of James Parks. Public Exhibit Number 5, which is the testimony of Scott Bell. Public Exhibit Number 6, which are the customer comments. Public Exhibit Number 7, which is petitioner's response to data request 16 from the OUCC. Public Exhibit Number 8, which is petitioner's or applicant's response to the data request set number 17 from the OUCC. Public Exhibit Number 9, which is petitioner's or applicant's response to set number 18 from the OUCC. We'd also offer confidential Exhibit 3C, which is the confidential portion of Mr. Compton's testimony. I'm sorry, Mr. Dellinger's testimony. Public Exhibit Number 2C, which is the confidential portion of Mr. Compton's testimony. And further, we'd offer Public Exhibit Number 7C, which is a confidential attachment associated, to 16-18, and confidential Exhibit 8C, which is a document that's confidential associated with data request number 17-6.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. Hearing no objection, I'll show Public's Exhibits 1, 2, 2C, 3, 3C, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7C, 8, 8C, and 9 admitted into the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now we will proceed with petitioner's case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Myers.
Good afternoon.
You should have in front of you on the front left corner of the desk an exhibit that has a marking from the court reporter. Do you see that?
I do.
Can you identify that document?
Yeah, this is my rebuttal testimony.
And does it include attachments?
It does.
Was that testimony written by you or at your direction?
It was.
Okay. Do you have any additions or corrections to your testimony?
I do.
If you would please call out the first correction, indicate the page and line number, indicate the change, and make the change in pen on the court reporter's copy, and put your initials next to it. Where is the first correction?
On page 10, line 4, change is to it. So the phrase reads, which it does not.
Okay. Please make that correction and initial it. Next correction.
On page 19, line 20, change next to net.
Next correction.
Give me just 1 minute. On page 24, lines 3 and 4, insert the words in bold into the sentence. After collecting information in the first phase and at the conclusion.
So, Mr. Meyer, just to be clear, we're inserting the word "the" after the word "in" on line 3, and you're inserting the word "at" after the word "and" on line 4. Is that correct? Have
That's correct.
you made those corrections?
Okay.
And the next correction?
Delete pages 1 and 2 from attachment MM-2, leaving only the last page of the attachment as the corporate structure.
Please turn to those pages and just strike through them and put your initials.
Okay.
Mr. Myers, if I were, with those corrections, if I were to ask you the questions contained in your testimony, would your answers be the same today?
Pardon me for interrupting. I just want to make sure I understand what's being removed.
Sure. MM2 is a 3-page attachment.
I thought he said 2 pages. I thought he said page 1 and 2.
Right. It is a 3-page attachment. He is striking the first page and the second page from attachment MM2 so that the remaining page is the 3rd page of MM2.
Okay. I just to avoid. I'm sorry. To that we have this as a 4-page document. There's a page that begins corporate structure plan, January 2026. I have that as the first page.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. So there's no change to the first title page. The first substantive page reads regulated structure at the top. That should be stricken. And the next page reads OMM structure at the top. That should be stricken. Apologies for the confusion. Mr. Myers, if I were to ask you the questions contained in your testimony along with the corrections that you've made today, would your answers be the same?
They would.
At this time, Your Honor, we'll offer into evidence what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 6.
Anything from the public?
No objection, Your Honor.
We'll show Petitioner's Exhibit 6 admitted into the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The witness is tendered for cross.
Good afternoon, Mr. Myers.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me okay? Mr. Myers, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. The document that you just struck through, the first page is corporate structure plan, January 2026. And you're retaining that page, correct?
It titled Crossroads Ownership Structure. Is that the page you're referring to?
Yes. I'll show you what I'm looking at right here.
Oh, yes, sir. We are.
Okay. So it says structure plan, January 2026. So having removed those 2 pages, what is the plan? What is the structure plan?
What this is intended to describe is what the corporate structure for Crossroads Utilities. And
Okay, but it uses the word plan.
Correct.
Was there a structure plan in January of 2026?
No, this represents kind of the structure, the corporate structure for Crossroads Utilities and in January of January of 26 was when that document was put together.
Why does it use the word structure plan? Let me withdraw that question. Would you agree with me that plan usually involves deciding to change something or make something different than what it is now?
It certainly could. In this context, that's not what it was intended to do.
Okay, so was this document, the cover sheet, created in response to a data request by the OUCC, or was this something that existed before the data request?
It existed before the data request.
Okay, and so the structure plan, January 2026, was this second page, the page that says Crossroads ownership structure.
Can you show me which page you're referring to?
Well, I'm talking about the page that you retained. You removed pages 2 and 3, and you left page 3.
Yes, sir.
So your structure plan was a one-page structure?
That's correct.
So what aspect is a plan?
Again, I would say that maybe plan, what we're referring to is this is the corporate structure for Crossroads.
Okay, and so it was error to put the word plan in the title?
Certainly, you could take it that way. I would say that for us, we didn't view it under your definition of plan. It's like we're saying, here's how the corporate structure is for Crossroads Utilities Holding.
Okay. What was the corporate structure for Crossroads 6 months before January 2026?
It was the same. I mean, it's been that way since, I think it was July of 2023.
Who's the corporate owner of Longleaf Utility LLC?
A company called Two Rivers Holding LLC.
That hasn't changed?
It has not.
Is this structure, it shows 90%, 10% different structure. Can you tell me how long that's been the case as of January 2026?
That had been the case since July of 2023.
Were there any other documents associated with this corporate structure plan, January 2026?
There was not.
What was the purpose of creating this document, corporate structure plan, January 2026?
We were putting together PowerPoints of all the different companies. And so that was put together as part of that. I think there was we were holding a board meeting in January, so we put that structure together as part of our board meeting.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may. We'll go off the record.
Thank you.
We ready to go back on the record?
Thank you. Mr. Myers, I've put in front of you what's been marked as cross-examination Exhibit 1, which is Crossroads response to OUCC data request 10.13. Do you have that in front of you?
I do.
Would you agree that through this question that the OEC asked for a copy of the sewer system evaluation study?
It does.
Now, in that answer, Crossroads indicated that the SSES, or Sewer System Evaluation Study, is an ongoing project. Correct?
That is correct.
And that no completed copy of the study has been prepared. Do you see that answer?
I do.
In that response, you do claim that Crossroads conducted a comprehensive CCTV and cleaning of the entire Crossroads system immediately after the acquisition of the LMH system. Correct?
That is correct.
Now, I'm going to ask the court reporter to put in front of you the public exhibit number 1, which is the testimony of Margaret Stull.
Go off the record. Back on the record.
And Mr. Myers, would you go to MAS-11, which is an attachment to Ms. Stull's testimony?
Can you give me that reference again?
It's MAS-11. It's the 11th attachment. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may. Go off the record. Back on the record.
Mr. Myers, would you agree that MAS-11 is Crossroads' response to OUCC data request 15-3?
I do.
And in that response, Crossroads indicated it had 106,187 feet of gravity sewer mains, and that's highlighted in yellow. Do you see that answer?
I do.
Okay. And for clarity's sake, it's 2,900 plus 102,582 and 705. And you agree with me that, subject to check, that adds up to 106,187 feet?
I would agree that subject to check, yeah.
Okay. Now I'd like you to go to MAS 12, page 16 of 17, which is the next. And so may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may. We'll go off the record. And we'll go back on.
Now, Mr. Myers, I've turned the page to start MAS 12, and what is that document?
It's titled Wastewater System Facilities Inventory/Valuation.
Right, and who performed that valuation?
Banning Engineering.
Right, and it was a valuation of LMH Utilities?
Yes, sir.
And it provides us, go to page 6 of 17 of that document. So turn 5 pages. And if you would go ahead and put that on top of the pages to your left so we keep the exhibit in order. Now, this is a page from banning engineering evaluation of LMH utilities, where it provides a summary of LMH utilities, including where it says that LMH has approximately 263 manholes. Do you see that at the bottom of the page?
I do.
Okay, it's right one up from 16 lift stations, correct?
It is correct.
Now, would you agree that this evidences Crossroads having 106,187 feet of gravity sewer and 263 manholes? Do you agree?
Generally, I would say I agree, but I would point out that this was prior to acquisition, that this study was done prior to the acquisition of LMH.
I understand. But this was a study that was procured by whom?
By Crossroads Utilities.
Right. In advance of the acquisition, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'd like to refer you to another exhibit, and could we go to Mr. Compton's testimony?
Which exhibit, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. May I, and Your Honor, may I ask the court reporter to supply Mr. Compton's testimony? Mr. Myers?
Yes, and we can go off the record.
Are we done with this one? Want me to put it back together?
Back on the record?
Your Honor, just as a housekeeping measure, I'd like at this point to offer OUCC cross-examination Exhibit 1.
No objection.
Show OUCC Cross Exhibit 1 admitted into the record.
Now, I'd like you to go to Mr. Compton's fifth attachment. It's OUCC attachment JTC5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and would you agree these are the 3 invoices from Better Earth Solutions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Should the first invoice is dated June 30th, invoice number 1300. The second invoice is dated June 30th, 2023, with the same invoice number, 1300. And the third invoice is dated July 31, 2023, with invoice 1312. At the top of where the services are described, do you see the middle column is titled Quantity?
I do.
Okay. And how many 4 to 10-inch typical sewer main was cleaned and televised, according to this invoice?
The first one, or do you mean collectively all 3?
Well, the first one. I'm asking about the 16,927.
Yes, sir.
EnviroLink Better Earth Solutions billed EnviroLink $42,317.50 for cleaning and televising 16,927 feet of main, correct?
For invoice 1, that's what it looks like. Yes, sir.
Okay. You see where it says cleaning and CCTV off-road single pass with the quantity of 9,149?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they Better Earth Solutions billed EnviroLink $45,745 for for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We also had, look at the second invoices. You also had billings for those items of 19,503 feet for 4 to 10 inch for cleaning and CCTV, and then for single pass, typical. And typical means what, Mr. Myers?
That's likely a jargon term for the industry that just means that there's not, they can access the manholes to be able to do the CCTV without any extra effort.
Okay, and then off-road would mean what?
Means it would not be in like a highway right-of-way and would require, you know, potentially off-road equipment and extra effort to get into the manholes.
Now, would you agree that, do you have a pencil with you there?
I have a pen, so.
I give you a,
Sure.
You may approach and we'll go off the record. And back on the record.
sorry. Let me just ask you, subject to check, would you agree that if you add up the typical single pass and the off-road single pass on these three invoices, which would be 6 figures, that adds up to 109,831 feet of gravity sewer at a cost of $417,567?
Can you give me those numbers one more time?
109,831 feet of gravity sewer.
On invoice 2 or?
All 3 invoices.
Okay.
Each invoice has two quantities in it. You've got typical and off-road. And if you were to, for all three of these invoices, you add up those 6 figures, that would add up to 109,831 feet.
Subject to check. I don't have any reason to disagree with you.
Now, the invoices also indicate a service called Cleaning Additional Pass, where Better Earth Solutions charged over $100,000 to clean 42,919 feet a second time after it had already been cleaned, correct?
That's correct.
The invoices also indicate a service called GIS Input, which indicates that Better Earth Solutions charged a total of $61,598 to gather GIS data for every foot of collection system main. Is that correct?
I'd say subject to check. That's correct.
Okay, and finally, the 3 invoices indicate that Better Earth Solutions inspected and cleaned a total of 152 manholes at a cost of $60,800. Do you see those charges on the invoices?
Yes, sir.
What was the total amount billed by Better Earth Solutions for the CCTV and cleaning of the entire Crossroads system?
Can I do some math here?
Yes.
Okay. Unless you've done the math for me.
Well, subject to check, and you're aware that you're asking for $959,957.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, to be put into rate base as a capital cost. Now, we reviewed earlier MAS 12, where Banning indicated that there were a total of 263 manholes. Do you remember that?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, it appears that Better Earth Solutions did not perform an inspection and cleaning of 111 manholes. And what I've done there is I've taken 263 manholes, subtracted the 152 manholes that Better Earth Solutions charge to clean and inspect, and that leaves 111, correct?
Okay.
Now, in response to 1013, which is cross-examination exhibit 1, Crossroads said that it conducted a comprehensive CCTV and cleaning of the entire Crossroads system. Did Better Earth Solutions perform an inspection and clean the other 111 manholes?
They could not find those manholes.
Now, how did Better Earth Solutions clean and televise the entire collection system if Better Earth could only find 152 out of the 260 manholes?
There's a number of techniques. I wasn't there, to be honest, but there's a number of techniques that they can do when they can't find a manhole to be able to clean sewers. They can skip a manhole and come at it from a different direction.
Well, they're televising when they go through.
Correct.
And they're televising and cleaning the entire system. Mm-hmm. So how could they possibly not come across 111 of the manholes that are on this system?
They could be buried. They could be under pavement.
Well, manholes typically are, well, don't collection system mains go through manholes?
They do.
Okay. Aren't manholes used to perform cleaning and televising of systems?
They do. They also could be that the records, the maps that were provided are not accurate. So where they say a manhole is located, it could not be at those locations.
If you've televised every line of your system, wouldn't you every manhole?
I would not expect that you would.
And why would you not expect that?
For the reasons I was just stating, just, things will be buried, they'll be under pavement. By way of an example, this is just kind of my history or personal experience. We did about 700 miles of collection system for Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and we were not able to find manholes on there. We were not able to find about 40% of the manholes because the records that were provided were inaccurate. They said a manhole was at one location and it was nowhere close to that location. Under pavement, it was grown over by, grass, trees, debris.
You realize mains are underground.
Yes, sir.
And so, and a main would travel from one manhole to another manhole.
That's correct.
I'd like you to go to Mr. Compton's exhibit JTC 9. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may. We'll go off the record.
I found it, Dan.
Back on the record.
What's in front of you, Mr. Myers, is data request response 14-2. And you were asked to confirm that the 231,914 of additions to Crossroads capitalized to distribution account 101-364-200 CCTV mapping and asset inventory in 2023 was for creation and mapping of Crossroads Geographic Information System, GIS map on Diamond Maps. If not confirmed, please explain what the costs were for. And the response that we received was that it was confirmed, correct?
Yes, sir, I see that.
So you're confirming that $231,914 was spent for creation and mapping of Crossroads GIS map on Diamond Maps.
That's what it seems to say, yes, sir.
Thank you. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may. We'll go off the record. We ready to go back on?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Back on the record?
Mr. Myers, since Crossroads spent over $230,000 creating a GIS map on Diamond Maps, the OECC sought access to the GIS mapping on Diamond Maps. Now, are you familiar with the Diamond Maps software where the Crossroads collection system information from Better Earth Solutions was entered into?
I'm familiar with Diamond Maps, yes, sir.
Now, what I've placed before you is several screenshots that were taken on May 14th, 2026 by Mr. Bell from Diamond Maps that I would like to discuss with you.
Your Honor, may I ask a few questions for purposes of forming an objection?
Well, Your Honor, I haven't yet.
Correct. We'll wait until he moves to offer.
Well, Your Honor, to the extent he's going to ask the witness questions about a document that hasn't been authenticated, for which there's no foundation, I object.
Any response?
Well, Your Honor, I'm going to lay a foundation. Mr. Myers created entries that are shown on these Diamond Maps. It shows his mmyers@envirolink.com. And I'm able to lay a foundation using this witness.
I'll offer a limited opportunity to lay a foundation, and then to the extent you'd like the opportunity to ask questions, I'll grant it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Myers, do you recognize the first page? Do you recognize what system that is?
Yes, sir.
What system is that?
This appears to be Diamond Maps.
Okay. Are you familiar with the numbering system of Diamond Maps, or the coloring system and the legend that's on the left side there?
I would have to refer to the legend, but yes, sir.
Okay. And can I ask you to turn the page to page 3 of 8? Do you see the street that says Picnic Woods Drive?
I am not picking it up.
Okay, page 3 of 8, if you turn the page.
Sorry, I was on the wrong page.
Oh.
Yes, sir, I got it.
And then there's also a sewer manholes not found point at the top, a square, a rectangle. Did you see that?
I do.
Okay, and what It says created by, and is that your email address?
It is.
Okay. And it shows a coordinate?
It does.
Are you, and it shows a created date of, can you tell me what the created date is on this document, on this entry?
2/20/2026.
What does that indicate to you?
That's the date that that data point was put on the map.
Okay, and as it was created by you, you put that data point on the map, correct?
Mr. LeVay, do you intend to offer this as into evidence?
I do, Your Honor. I'm just,
Somebody using my account that I authorized to use my account. Yes, sir.
so you did not enter this yourself?
I did not.
Okay. To whom might you have authorized the use of your account?
Would have been any number of people, probably one of our admins in the office.
Okay. And that admin was working at 3 o'clock in the morning?
That time must be correct. Incorrect, because I would not expect them to be working at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
It's actually 3 in the afternoon, by the way. 1,500 hours.
Oh, yes, you're right. Your Honor, I have some more questions before I seek to offer this.
Okay.
What do the red manholes indicate?
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object. I've given an opportunity for there to be a foundation laid, for there to be authentication that this witness prepared this exhibit and is familiar with it. That foundation has not been laid. And now to go into the substance of the document to ask what certain figures and colors mean when the document hasn't been authenticated, that's inappropriate unless and until the exhibit has been admitted into evidence.
Mr. LeVay?
May I ask some additional foundational questions, Your Honor?
Briefly, yes.
Crossroads paid $230,000 as indicated in its response to discovery to enter into the Diamond Map system, correct?
Subject to check, yes, sir. I know we just talked about it, but
Okay. And do you recall giving the OUCC access to the Diamond Map so it could review them?
I remember that access was granted, yes, sir.
And that was granted by Crossroads, correct?
It would have been granted by EnviroLink.
Well, EnviroLink's not a party to this proceeding. Crossroads, this was a discovery sent to Crossroads, so Crossroads provided us access to this, correct?
Crossroads would have authorized EnviroLink to give you access, yes, sir. The licensing is in EnviroLink's name, I believe.
Have you ever been on the Diamond Maps site?
I have.
And are you familiar how entries are made on the Diamond Maps site?
I am.
And if you would look at this document, and can you tell me if there's anything in this document that strikes you as being inaccurate?
I would not say that anything's inaccurate.
Okay. Can I draw you to do you have any Diamond Maps screenshots or photographs as attachments to your testimony?
I do not recall there being anything there.
Your Honor, I'd like to move to offer this exhibit into evidence.
Your Honor, we'll object based on the fact that there is no foundation laid. This witness has not testified that A, he has seen this document before, B, he has testified that he is not the author of this document, C, he has not testified that this document or the contents thereof are an accurate representation of anything that purports to be on these pages. Those are classic elements for a foundation of authentication, and for those reasons, we object to its admission.
Your Honor, he has identified parts of the system that he recognized Picnic Woods Drive. He recognizes his name being created, being shown on this document. He has suggested that somebody has entered these under his authorization. He indicated that there's nothing in these exhibits that indicate that this is not the system. He's acknowledged that Crossroads provided the OUCC access to the Diamond Maps system.
And Your Honor, if the OUCC wanted to offer this as a piece of evidence, then it should have offered it through a person who could testify that that person made these maps and could testify as to whether they're accurate. They have not done that.
We're going to overrule the objection and allow this into evidence. Admitted as Cross Exhibit 2.
Mr. Myers, looking at the legend of this document, where it says, at the bottom of the legend, it shows a red dot and it says, sewer manholes not found. Do you see that?
I do see it.
Okay, and does that indicate that these red dots are representing manholes that have not been found?
That is correct.
Now, if you would go to page 3 of 8, it shows a triangle coming off of the sewer manholes not found point. And if you look at page 3 of 8, does that indicate to you that at the end of that white triangle, that's the point that has been entered into here?
Just to make sure I'm looking at the same page as you.
It says page 3 of 8 right at the top there.
Yeah, that's okay. I just don't see a triangle.
Well, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may, we'll go off the record.
Oh,
So just to the left, I'm sorry.
Back on the record.
So just to the left of that number, where it says number, there's a white triangle, and it comes to a point with a yellow circle, and it's overlaid on a red dot. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay, and that indicates a manhole that's not found.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay? And it shows the coordinates for that, and it shows who created this document, and it shows a creation date. And does it show the lid type?
I'm sorry, the lid type?
Well,
does-
there's information for this manhole that's not found that could be included up there, and there's nothing there, right?
Agreed.
So there's at least roughly 10 items that history, attachment, description, date of inspection, date of installation, that there's no data for that.
That's correct.
Take you to page 5 of 8, please. Now, on page 5 of 8, it's referring to a manhole on Seldom Seen Drive. Has been found. and it shows a blue dot. You see that?
I do.
But would you agree with me that other than changing the name of this manhole, there's no information about this found manhole in Diamond Maps?
I would agree.
Mr. Myers, could I ask you to go to page 12 of your rebuttal testimony?
Yes, sir.
Now, you discuss an email from the OUCC to Crossroads discussing that the OUCC authorized Crossroads to replace a mag meter ahead of closing as a rate-based addition. And you state that the OUCC was aware that the former LMH utility refused to initiate or improve any additional investment in the Picnic Woods wastewater system. Now I'm going to ask you to go to MM3 for that email. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
That's an email from me, correct?
It is an email from you, sir. Yes, sir.
I believe you indicate that there was communication. You say in and around, at line 19 of your testimony, you say in and or around April 2023, Crossroads inquired to the OUCC about Crossroads' ability to purchase a flow meter prior to closing. You see that?
Around, you said line 13?
Yes. No, I said around line 19.
19. Yes, sir, I see that.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may, we'll go off the record. We ready to go back on the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Myers, do you have what's been marked as cross-examination Exhibit 3?
I do.
And it shows, under the second from, it shows an email from your attorney, Nikki Schultz. And what's the date of that?
Wednesday, it's Wednesday, April 19th, 2003.
And the recipients are me
Yourself and Jeff Peabody.
and Jeff Peabody represented LMH.
That is correct.
And then can you read the email, the message on the email?
Which section do you want me to read?
I'll just read it to you and you can agree with me or not. Jeff and Dan, see attached for background on the development we will discuss on our 1 p.m. call today. Thanks, Nikki. Can you, did I read that correctly?
You did.
Okay, and then could I have you turn the page? And could you read the third paragraph?
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to interpose an objection. The witness is being asked to testify and read off of an exhibit that has not been offered or admitted into evidence, and there has been not proper foundation laid.
Your Honor, I haven't offered it yet, and I'll lay the foundation, if I may.
Yeah, if you'd like to withdraw your question, lay the foundation, I'll allow that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your testimony indicates that there were communications between Crossroads and the OUCC regarding this mag meter.
Yes, sir.
It's a flow meter. Were you kept in the loop on discussions about the flow meter?
I was briefed on them, yes, sir.
Okay, well, you were in charge of Crossroads Utility, right?
What do you mean in charge?
Well, you're the decision maker for Crossroads Utility.
I'm one of the decision makers.
Okay. What is your title at the time with respect to Crossroads Utility in April of 2023?
In April of 2023, I would have been the manager. That's correct.
Okay, so you're the manager.
Yep.
And would you expect your attorney to keep you in the loop of communications with the OUCC regarding conditions of the utility and flow meters?
Well, this was a request. I believe this was before Crossroads owned the utility, and this was a request to allow Crossroads to make the investment into the flow meter because the former owners of LMH Utilities refused to purchase that flow meter.
Well, let me ask you then to read the third paragraph of this, which states that under the terms of EnviroLink's contract to operate the system, LMH is responsible for the cost of necessary equipment repairs and replacement. LMH would like to purchase the $11,865.26 replacement meter and reflect the amount in a revised increased purchase price, which is authorized by Section 61E2 of the Asset Purchase Agreement. Would you agree with me that this representation is that LMH would like to purchase the meter?
Your Honor, at this moment, I'm going to object. Counsel has now testified by reading an exhibit that has not been offered or admitted into evidence, and he has not laid a proper foundation. So I move to strike the question of counsel, which is reading in the evidence from an exhibit that has not been offered or admitted or for which there is no foundation.
Your Honor, let me move to offer it now. The witness testified that he was the manager and he was aware. He even testified as to what the meaning of this communication back and forth was about. This is a email sent on behalf of the company of which he was the manager.
So I understand that to mean that you were withdrawing your question and offering this as an exhibit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any response to that?
Your Honor, he hasn't shown an adequate foundation. A foundation is, do you recognize this exhibit? Are you the author of this exhibit? Have you seen it before? Are the contents accurate? We haven't even asked any of those questions, so there is no foundation. For those reasons, I'll object.
Any response to this objection?
Your Honor, if I may ask an additional question.
I'll allow one question before I rule on this objection.
No, nothing further, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you said I could ask another question?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen any of the communications that you referenced in your testimony about back and forth between the OUCC and Crossroads?
I do not believe so.
So everything you know about the email sent by the OUCC is based on something that you've never seen?
Would have been based on conversations with my attorney at the time and I think we also had some information from like one of the vendors that the OUCC contacted, Grip Incorporated, I think.
And that's the GRIP Incorporated that's attached to this email that your attorney sent?
Yes, sir.
On that basis, I'll overrule the objection and admit OUCC Cross Exhibit 3 into the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I could please make an offer to prove that especially the second page of this exhibit there's absolutely no foundation. The witness has not testified or been asked whether he recognizes it, whether he knows if it's accurate, or whether he prepared it.
Any response?
No, Your Honor.
One clarifying question for the witness. Do you have any reason to doubt the accuracy of the GRIP Incorporated proposal attached to this email?
I do not.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Your Honor. I withdrew my earlier question, but this email, or this attachment to the email, indicates that under the terms of EnviroLink's contract to operate the system, LMH is responsible for the cost of necessary equipment repairs and replacement. And then it says, LMH would like to purchase the $11,685.26 replacement meter and reflect that amount in a revised purchase price. My question to you is, does that indicate that LMH is unwilling to make improvements to its system?
I think indirectly it does. It says that they're not willing to make an investment into the wastewater system unless they get compensated.
Well, you have an agreement, did you not? You had established a price.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And under the terms of the agreement, if they make an improvement, they get to add that to the sale price.
That is correct.
But that, and I ask you also to go to, well, go to page 13 of your rebuttal testimony.
Yes, sir.
On page 13 of your rebuttal testimony, you state that a significant amount of Mr. Lagley's time was spent on Crossroads.
Are you generally speaking between like lines 16 through 20?
Yes. Now, Mr. Lagley's time was allocated between South Dearborn Regional Sewer District and Crossroads. Is correct?
Yes, sir. He had responsibilities at both.
And is the South Dearborn Regional Sewer District, is that owned in any way by Longleaf or Two Rivers?
It is not.
It's unaffiliated entirely.
That is correct.
And so you provide services to South Dearborn through a contract.
We did.
Are you responsible for operations at Crossroads and the Dearborn Regional Sewer Southern District?
We were.
Okay. And you no longer are?
No, they decided to, the South Dearborn Regional Sewer District decided to hire their own staff.
And when did they make that decision?
I believe it was maybe January of 2024.
Now, you primarily work out of North Carolina?
I do.
That's where your home is?
Yes, sir.
How do you supervise operations in Indiana?
Well, I make a lot of trips to Dearborn County, and we have a lot of communications back and forth between on-site personnel.
Do you come to Dearborn County weekly?
I do not.
You come to Dearborn County every month?
I would say on average, it's probably once a month. I won't say it's religiously every month, but on average, about once a month.
How long do you stay?
I'm usually there for, I would say, 1 to 2 days.
So 1 to 2 days a month?
Yes, sir.
How do you verify that employees are working on their tasks?
Well, we have what's called a computerized maintenance management system is one of the tools we use. We also have management personnel that we've hired that oversee what goes there on a daily basis.
Was Mr. Lagley a management personnel?
He was.
Okay. So he's one of the people that would be keeping track of things.
Yes, sir.
Now, you would know whether Mr. Lagley was spending his time between South Dearborn and Crossroads by virtue of the timesheets he filled out, correctly?
If he was filling them out correctly, yes, sir.
Okay. Who supervised Mr. Lagley?
He would have been supervised by what we call our chief operating officer,
Who's that?
Chris Riot.
And where's Chris Riot located?
Generally speaking, he's in North Carolina.
Did Mr. Lagley supervise anyone?
He did.
Was he responsible for making sure those people filled out their timesheets correctly?
He was.
On what did you base your opinion that Mr. Lagley's time was not being accurately reported?
Through conversations with Mr. Lagley.
When were these conversations had?
I'm sorry?
When were these conversations had?
When were these conversations had? They would have been, we're in May now. They would have been earlier part of this year, I would say January, February.
I'd like you to turn to attachment JTC 24 of Mr. Compton's testimony.
What was your reference again?
It's JTC 24.
Counsel? Your Honor, could it's JTC 24?
I believe so, yes. One moment. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may. We'll go off the record.
My electronic version only goes to JTC 23, so can I just peek at what you see? See, that's the bottom. Oh, do you think it's in a different email? That's all I have. Can you just show me what is the document you're looking at? found it, Dan. It's in a different attachment. Apologies.
Ready to go back on the record?
Mr. Myers, how much time does the time allocation for Chris Lagley indicate was spent on default?
In the exhibit, is that what you're, in the exhibit here, is that what you're?
Yes.
121 hours.
Now, and how much time was spent on LMH Utilities according to this exhibit?
37 hours.
And how much time does it is allocated in this document to South Dearborn?
According to this, 2,029 hours.
And how many hours is Crossroads seeking to include in test year for Mr. Lagley's time?
That's probably a better question for Mr. Vidal.
Would you agree that it's, that, well, let me just ask you, EnviroLink billed Crossroads 2,080 hours for Mr. Lagley's time in 2024?
Again, that's probably a better question for Mr. Vidal.
Is it your position that, well, let me ask you, why would that be a better question for Mr. Verdau? Aren't you supervising?
I am, but I'm not, I don't know what I didn't look at the exact number of hours that we are asking for a recovery on Mr. Lagley.
Okay. How much time do you think Mr. Lagley spent on Crossroads in 2024?
Based on my conversations, he indicated that his time was probably equally split between Crossroads and South Dearborn Regional Sewer District.
So he told you that it's equal. So that would be roughly 1,000 hours apiece?
It just depends how many hours he worked. I'd have to drill down onto his timesheets and to figure that out.
Didn't you say that you spoke to Mr. Lagley in January of
I did.
2024 about him not recording his hours correctly?
I did.
What's your test year in this rate case? Do you know?
The test year for this rate case was 2024.
Do you expect Mr. Lagley to follow your instructions?
I do.
Did Mr. Lagley understand how he was recording his time incorrectly according to you?
I think he understood the importance of needing to code his time correctly.
Has Mr. Lagley been written up for not recording his time correctly since then?
He's no longer with us.
One moment, Your Honor. I'm going to ask you now to go to JTC 25, which is just turning the page there. And I'd like you to turn to, well, first of all, can you tell me what this JTC 25 is?
This appears to be the agreement between EnviroLink and the South Dearborn Regional Sewer District.
Could you go to page 15 of 25? Are you there?
Oh, yes, sir, sorry.
And does this not set out a list of the duties and obligations of EnviroLink to South Dearborn?
It does.
Okay. Was Mr. Lagley the superintendent of the South Dearborn utility?
He was, but maybe in my testimony, is there any place that I testify about this?
Well, I don't know whether you do or not, but you talked about Mr. Lagley's time. So I'm exploring with you, was he the supervisor of the South Dearborn utility?
He was.
Okay. And these would indicate the many responsibilities that he would have. He would attend all district board meetings. He would coordinate and direct the facilitation of both long-term and short-term planning.
Him and his assistant.
Okay. Who was his assistant?
Good question. Her name, subject to check.
Is it Alyssa McClanahan?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Review and process monthly claims.
I'm sorry?
Do you consider 2,029 hours to be a sufficient amount of time for someone to perform all these obligations?
I think that's more than adequate for between two people.
Do you consider 121 hours to be sufficient time to do all these obligations?
That's correct, yeah.
You do believe that?
I believe that that can be done. That's more than enough hours to get these done, yeah, with two people.
Just to be clear, you think 121 hours is enough time?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I misheard your question.
Is 121 hours enough time to get all of these things done?
No, it would take more than that. No.
Do you know if Melissa McClanahan primarily worked in the lab for South Dearborn?
She did work in the lab.
Was that primarily her job?
That was her job function, but she was also being groomed to replace Chris when Chris decided to retire.
Mr. Myers, let's go to page 23 of your rebuttal testimony.
Yes, sir.
You state on page 23 in your rebuttal testimony that separate due diligence reviews were conducted by EnviroLink and Manchuk, correct?
That is correct.
And is it true that neither EnviroLink nor Manchuk identified issues with the Old Orchard lift station before the acquisition?
That is correct.
Do you agree that lift stations are a critical component of sewer collection systems?
I would agree.
Would you agree that lift stations are expensive infrastructure for utilities to install?
I would agree.
Why would neither due diligence process conducted check all lift stations to identify any issues?
All lift stations were visited and inspected, but this, the pumps in these lift stations are submersible, meaning they're underwater. So in order to inspect those pumps, you'd have to install bypass pumping to bypass the pump station in order to be able to put somebody down inside to do what's called a confined space entry.
How much was Manchuk paid to perform its due diligence review?
I don't know that I know the answer to that question.
Would it have been worthwhile if they had discovered that before the acquisition?
I would think it would be worthwhile, but I think it's hard, as you say, things are underground. How much effort do you put into, it's kind of how much effort do you put into due diligence versus the cost and, the cost of the due diligence. And
You put in, how many operations do you run?
in terms of how many facilities do we run?
Yes.
Over 100.
In retrospect, would it have been worthwhile to know when the condition of the old Orchard lift station?
Objection, Your Honor, that's calls for speculation. Would it have been worthwhile?
I'll sustain that objection. You may rephrase the question.
Do you ever heard of a cost-benefit analysis?
I have.
Is a cost-benefit analysis, is that something that you would undertake to decide how much of an investigation it would be worth, the risks of not doing an investigation of the condition of a utility before purchasing it?
I don't think you'd do a formal cost-benefit analysis, but I think just your experience, and the experiences you've had, you would say, here's a reasonable amount of effort in order to do the due diligence on a facility.
Page 36 of your testimony. Line 9. You state that the due diligence examined the area directly at the discharge point and not the downstream area, and that would not have been within the scope of a reasonable level of diligence. What was the condition of the creek downstream?
I don't know that. Can you reference where I said that? I don't know that I was reading along with.
Okay, it's on. We're talking about the question that your answer in your testimony was, please describe the circumstances that led to the IDEM agreed order and address EnviroLink's role. Correct?
Correct.
Let me ask you, if LMH had never sold its utility to Crossroads, and there were IDEM violations and fines and the need for remediation, would you expect LMH's customers to pay the cost of remediation and fines?
If LMH had caused the violations, then I would not expect their LMH customers to bear the burden of that.
Should they bear the burden merely because someone purchased the utility?
Well, I think it's, it certainly was not something that we were aware of going into it. And, I think Crossroads shouldn't be, I would say it differently. I would say that Crossroads shouldn't have to bear the cost of that.
So the risk of not doing due diligence should be borne by the ratepayers and not the acquirer?
I wouldn't call it the risk of, I think, I wouldn't use the words you're saying.
You don't consider that to be a risk?
I think, that you do a reasonable amount of due diligence to try to identify problems. You look at certain things, and if, this was certainly what we would call an unforeseen condition.
It says, while we examined the area directly at the discharge point, we did not examine the downstream area, nor would this have been within the scope of reasonable level of diligence. Mm-hmm. Would you expect discharge not to flow downstream?
I would.
You would not expect it to flow downstream?
I would expect the discharge to flow downstream.
Okay, so would you expect that if there was a discharge at some point, that looking downstream would be useful to knowing whether there had been a discharge from the plant?
I don't know that I'd necessarily agree with you. I think, if you look at the discharge point and you see something that causes a concern, then maybe you'd start walking down the stream. But if things look normal, then I would not. I'd have no reason to walk downstream.
Well, if you'd walked downstream and you'd found a discharge there, what would you have concluded?
I'm sorry?
Objection, Your Honor. The question is, if you would have, what would you have concluded?
I said,
Calls for speculation.
if you had gone, I'll restate the question, Your Honor. If you had gone downstream and looked, and you had discovered that there was some evidence of discharge, what would that have told you about the treatment plant?
If we had walked downstream, and can you rephrase that? Because I think I know what you're asking, but I'm getting stumbled on the terminology you're using a little bit.
Okay. Well, you said that we did not examine the downstream area. And you pointed that out in your testimony. If you had examined the downstream area and you found evidence of discharge, would that have caused you to have concerns about the treatment plant?
I think, if I can, just maybe try to clarify your question a little bit. I think you mean the discharge of solids. Is that what you?
Yes, discharge of solids.
Okay. Yeah, if we'd have walked downstream and we'd have saw the discharge of solids downstream, that would have been cause for concern.
Do discharge tend to go downstream?
They do.
Could you go to page 6 of your rebuttal testimony, please?
I'm there.
At line 20, you say that upon formation of Better Earth Solutions in 2021, Longleaf did have an indirect minority interest in Better Earth Solutions. And then you state, in March of 2023, Longleaf divested its interest in Better Earth Solutions. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may. We'll go off the record. We'll go back on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like you to go to what's been marked as 7, OUCC 7, public. Yes, I'm just not close to it, sorry. Mr. Myers, I'd like you to go to OUCC or Public Exhibit 7, and it has the 16th set of data requests, set number 16, rather.
I'm there.
And I'd like you to go to 16-17.
Yes, sir.
Now, the question that was asked at this data request was a repeat of what I just read to you of your testimony, which was that you testified in your rebuttal testimony that upon formation of Better Earth Solutions in 2021, Longleaf did have an indirect minority interest in Better Earth Solutions. And that's the verified rebuttal testimony, page 6, lines 20 through 21. And the first question was, please describe how Longleaf had a minority interest in Better Earth Solutions. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
And the answer was, that was error in Mr. Meyer's testimony from 2023. Now, just dealing with that first sentence, what are you saying in that sentence? Are you saying that your statement from your rebuttal testimony was an error?
No, I believe what we're saying here is that the information from 2023 was an error.
Okay, what information from 2023 are you referring to?
Believe there was a organizational chart or a corporate organizational chart provided back then. It's my recollection.
So the question was how Longleaf had a minority interest in Better Earth Solutions. And so are you, is your rebuttal testimony at page 6, lines 20 and 21, is that correct?
I'm going to go back to that if that's okay.
Yes.
What was the reference there again?
Page 6, lines 20 through 21.
No, it's not incorrect. It says that Longleaf had an indirect minority interest in Better Earth.
Okay, so the statement that you said that was error in Mr. Meyer's testimony from 2023, that doesn't really need to be in your answer, right?
Probably is irrelevant information.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying that. What is the relationship of Longleaf to Two Rivers Holding?
Two Rivers Holdings owns Longleaf.
And that's, and you are an owner of Two Rivers Holding?
I'm not directly. It's owned by a family trust.
Okay, of which you are a beneficiary?
Trustee and beneficiary.
Okay. And that has not changed? That's been consistent throughout?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, the answer also says, not shown on the PowerPoint presentation was OK Resources ownership of Native Waters, LLC. Which PowerPoint presentation are you referring to?
Is that in my testimony?
Yes. No, it's in the response to the data request.
I'm sorry. And which number was that? I'm sorry.
That's 16-17. It's Part A.
Can I ask you to ask your question again?
Yes. At the end of A, you say, not shown on the PowerPoint presentation was OK Resources ownership of Native Waters, paren, OK, close paren, LLC.
Okay.
What PowerPoint presentation are you referring to in your answer here?
I don't know that I remember.
Okay. Is this the first time that you have indicated to us the existence of OK Resources?
I am not sure.
Okay. Do you recall any other instances where we would have asked a question that where the answer was OK Resources?
I don't know. As I have no affiliation with them, I would doubt that there'd be any reason to talk about them.
Let's go to 1618. So let me ask you to turn the page. Now, the beginning of the question states that Mr. Myers testified that in March of 2023, Longleaf divested its interest in Better Earth Solutions. And then we said, please state the date of the divestiture, and the answer we got was March of 2023. Is there a reason why you didn't give us the actual date, but just the month? Is that confidential, the date it occurred?
I don't know that it is. But I think we provided the agreement or the redemption agreement to you guys. I don't remember when we provided it, but we did provide it.
You provided that redemption agreement through a supplemental, you did provide that redemption agreement. It's redacted. It was provided confidentially and redacted, and we were not provided the information under the redactions. Does that accord with your recollection?
It was redacted, but I think the date was not redacted.
I think you're correct. But the entire agreement is represented to be confidential. Your Honor, this might be a time to go in camera, but it's also 2:45, I see.
Let's take a 15-minute break, and we'll come back at 3 o'clock. We'll go off the record. Going back on the record, and we'll be in camera for a few minutes. We're out of in camera.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Myers, I've marked what's been, or I've put in front of you what's been marked as cross-examination Exhibit 4, which is Crossroads Utilities response to OUCC data request 12-14. Do you recognize that?
12-4?
Yes.
14?
No, 12-14.
Yes, sir.
And you're familiar with this agreement?
I am.
Your Honor, I'd like to offer cross-examination Exhibit 4.
No objection.
Show public cross-examination Exhibit 4 admitted into the record.
Your Honor, may I approach the,
You may. We'll go off the record. Are we back on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Myers, for the record, I'm just going to ask you to first identify what these exhibits are in terms of what's been marked. Correct me if I'm wrong, but cross-examination exhibit number 5, which is on top there, is a Secretary of State certificate of limited liability company for Native Waters, LLC.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, and then cross-examination exhibit 6 is a certificate of limited liability company from the State of Oklahoma Secretary of State's office for OK Resources. Am I correct about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the third of certificate of limited liability company from the State of Oklahoma is Better Earth Solutions, and that is cross-examination exhibit 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are you familiar with certificates of limited liability issued by Secretaries of State?
I'm familiar with them, yes, sir.
And you have through Longleaf and Two Rivers, you've been an owner of Better Earth Solutions?
I have in the past, yes, sir.
Right, and also OK Resources?
I've never been affiliated with OK Resources.
Okay, and Native Waters?
Well, Native Waters is the owner of Better Earth Solutions.
Okay. And is the, and would you look at this document and note that the address of the place of business on Better Earth Solutions is 18935 Sela Way, Norman, Oklahoma?
Yes, sir.
And would you note that Native Waters LLC, the address is 18935 Sela Way, Norman, Oklahoma?
You're looking at Native Waters, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And would you agree that for OK Resources LLC, the address is 18935 Sela Way, Norman, Oklahoma?
Yes, sir.
And the email, seth@swhok.com, do you recognize that email?
I do not.
Your Honor, I'd like to offer into evidence cross-examination exhibits 5, 6, and 7.
Your Honor, we will only object to the admission of cross-examination 6 on the grounds that there's not a sufficient foundation. Mr. Myers testified that he is not in any way a part of or has any knowledge of the Secretary of State registration of OKA Resources, LLC. No objection to cross-examination exhibits 5 and 7.
Your Honor, I believe cross-examination exhibit 7 no, you're right, it is. Well, Your Honor, these documents are self-identifying. OK Resources is something that has been disclosed to us in the last couple of days before we filed. So we would ask that this be admitted as being self-identifying. It's a document from the Secretary of State's. And in lieu of offering it as a cross-examination exhibit, I'd ask the Commission to take administrative notice of it.
I'm going to overrule the objection on the basis that it is self-authenticating, and I will show OUCC's cross-examination exhibits 5, 6, and 7 admitted into the record.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness again?
You may. We'll go off the record. will be 8.
I'm trying to figure out a filing system.
Back on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Myers, could I ask you to look at the response to OUCC data request Q 16-16?
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Myers, the question asked in 16-16 was in reference to attachment MM-2, which is the attachment that you had removed from your testimony. And specifically, you left the first page and removed pages 2 and 3 of Exhibit MM-2. We asked you in this question to please state when pages 2 and 3 of this attachment were created and explain what is meant by to be dissolved and how such prospective dissolution was to be accomplished. The response indicated that the pages 2 and 3 of your attachment MM2 were prepared in connection with the evaluation and planning of the LMH sewer system cleaning, televising, mapping, and asset inventorying project in 2024. And am I correct that your response to this question was referring to the pages 2 and 3 that were removed from your case-in-chief testimony?
Your Honor, I just want to interject, and apologies for interrupting, but I believe counsel misread the answer under information provided. The last word of the first paragraph is 2023, and counsel read into the record 2024. I just want to make that correction.
If I did so, I apologize, and I'm sure I did, and I accept the correction, and thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, what was your question again?
The statement that you made was in reference to this answers, those pages 2 and 3 of MM2 are the same 2 pages that were removed from your case-in-chief testimony.
That's correct.
And so I put a copy of that, those 4 pages in front of you as cross-examination exhibit 8.
Correct.
And your statement with respect to pages 2 and 3 of MM2 are included in cross-examination exhibit 8, correct?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, these are the same pages you're
Yes, sir.
referring to in your answer. Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to offer into evidence cross-examination exhibit 8.
No objection.
Show cross-examination Exhibit 8 admitted into the record.
Now, in your statement, you say the reference to be dissolved reflects a preliminary understanding of expectation at the time the document was prepared regarding the potential future disposition of Better Earth Solutions following completion of the LMH project. This language was informal and conceptual in nature and did not reflect a formal or executed plan of dissolution. What did you mean that if it wasn't a formal plan of dissolution, what was your expectation?
I guess what I meant by that is that these 2 exhibits here were never accurate. We're merely planning, things that we were using for discussion purposes. They were never accurate, didn't represent reality.
So it was your expectation then, what parts of this was not accurate in 2023?
Oh, I'd have to go through and analyze it, but
Well, I was asking you about the words "to be dissolved." So when you say that this wasn't accurate, is the plan to be dissolved wasn't formally planned?
Well, I mean, to be dissolved, in that context, we were talking dissolving our ownership in those organizations.
Okay. And so at the time, Native Waters was the owner of Better Earth Solutions, and Two Rivers Holding LLC had an ownership in EnviroLink National Inc. out of Ohio and Native Waters OK. Correct?
According to this document,
Okay, and this document is,
not correct. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's parts of this document, this was a planning document. It was not correct.
okay, what parts are not correct?
Well, at the time these companies existed, they weren't dissolved, right?
Oh.
You know, these companies existed, the percentages on them are not correct.
Okay, okay, what was the percentage? First of all, what date was this document made?
Oh, golly, I don't know that I remember that.
Okay, well, you remember making this document.
I remember making this document, but not these slides. Again, these slides, I don't remember when these slides were created.
Okay. Your Honor, we may take a 5-minute recess.
We may. We'll go back. We'll go off the record and come back at 3:35. Are we ready to go back on? Excellent. We're back on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you go to page 40 of your rebuttal testimony, Mr. Myers?
I'm there.
Now, the question at line 2 is referencing Mr. Bell's testimony noting items November 2025 inspection that identified 6 areas of unsatisfactory operations. Have these issues been cured? Before I get into your response there, as of November 2025, EnviroLink had been running the operations at LMH's plant for approximately 3.5 years, correct?
What was, you said November of 25?
Yes.
That sounds about right, yes, sir.
And why does Crossroads continue to have EnviroLink run the operations?
I don't know that I can answer that.
Right. Your answer to line 5 was, these issues have been addressed. When did these issues get addressed?
Which issues, the issues in the, that were referenced in the inspection letter?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know that I can tell you exactly when, but each of the 6 issues that IDEM had were addressed.
Well, let me ask you, why were there 6 issues if EnviroLink had been operating the system for 3.5 years?
So how we, when EnviroLink assumed operations, at first we hired what I would call the former LMH employees, and a lot of the procedures that were utilized by EnviroLink at that time were just carried through kind of the transition of both operations and ownership.
Well, you bought the utility with the idea of running things differently, did you not?
We did.
So hiring the additional employees, what was the name of the employee that you hired from LMH?
There was actually 2 or 3. Zach Tucker is, I think, probably who you're referencing.
And you terminated Mr. Tucker?
Well, we separated in, I think it was June of 23.
How much did Crossroads pay EnviroLink to run the utility for the test year?
I don't know that I can recall that off the top of my head.
Was it over $1 million?
That sounds correct.
I could have you go to data request 18-1, which is public exhibit 9. Yes. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Okay. I'll ask you to go to the attachment 18-1. These are the June 2023 expense reports.
Okay.
You see in the lower right-hand column, there's IRS instructions.
Hard to make out, but I see what you're referencing.
Let me read it, and then you can tell me if it looks correct based on following along. Note, under IRS Code 3593-3602, employers must maintain adequate records to substantiate a business expense. Evidence such as receipts, paid bills, or similar evidence sufficient to support all expenditures of $25 or more is required and must accompany this report. In addition, please give details of the business purpose and the names of guests for all meals charged on this expense report. Okay. Would you agree that hotel rooms are an expenditure in excess of $25?
Yes, sir, more than likely.
Would you agree that Crossroads' response to data request 18-1 did not include any receipts?
It does not appears to be correct.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Assuming this is complete, yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. No. Would you agree that if lodging receipts were included, that would indicate which days EnviroLink employees were on site?
I would expect a receipt to indicate which days they had stayed in the hotel, yes.
Could you go to the response to 18-1E?
I'm there.
Could you read the question?
Starting with please explain.
Yes.
Okay. Please explain why EnviroLink only charged Crossroads for travel expenses for June and July of '23, but not for other months in 2023.
And the response?
We did not capture travel and lodging expenses until after the invoices had been submitted due to a delay in when the expense reports were submitted. So we did not bill for it.
Okay. And could you read the dates for the expense reports for June and July?
For each one of them? You want me to go through all of them?
One moment, please. The date's on the bottom of the page.
Next to the signatures?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like 7/2/2003 for the one I'm looking at, and then 7/3/2003.
You said 2003. It's 2023 in both cases.
I'm sorry, yeah,
Okay. So, based on this, would you agree that employees fill their expense reports out promptly? As it's within within 1 week after the end of the month?
it does appear so, yep.
Your Honor, no further questions.
Thank you. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Myers, you were just asked about the data response 18-1, open paren E, close paren. Do you remember that exchange?
Yes, ma'am.
If Crossroads did not capture a travel and lodging expense, does that mean that it's not asking for recovery of that expense in this rate case?
That would be my understanding, yes, ma'am.
Prior to that, you were asked about the IDEM violations that occurred after EnviroLink became the operator of the system. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain what was happening when EnviroLink first became the operator and why it was using certain LMH legacy employees?
One was mainly to try to have a smooth transition and also to try to capture as much of the history, what we would call what's in somebody's head that isn't in the records. You're trying to capture that information from those so that you know kind of the history of what's gone on with the facility. You're trying to extract most of that information that you can out of those employees.
You mentioned in your response to cross-examination about certain procedures that the legacy LMH personnel were following. How did that relate to the IDEM violations?
One of the, well, a couple of the findings had to do with laboratory procedures and then certain practices at the wastewater treatment plant. And so with the lab procedures in particular, those lab procedures didn't change through the transition. They had adopted those same lab procedures through the transition.
Did those lab procedures eventually change?
They did.
And why?
It was in response to IDEM's findings that they were saying that certain lab procedures that were being done, certain techniques that were being performed either were no longer appropriate or that they didn't meet the regulation.
Mr. Myers, you were asked about the removal from your testimony of 2 pages of the corporate structure, and then that was later admitted into the record as cross-examination exhibit number 8. Do you remember that discussion?
I do.
Why did you delete these 2 pages from your verified rebuttal testimony?
The reason we deleted those was, and if I could, conversations that we had with the OUCC that indicated that those were placed in there in error, that they were template. When we create the document, we'll pull in go-bys, and those were templates, and they were pulled from other documents to kind of be able to copy and paste to create diagrams and things like that.
But the diagram that remains in your testimony, that remains accurate?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading question.
I'll rephrase, my apologies. Mr. Myers, the corporate organizational chart that remains in your testimony, could you explain why that remains?
Because that's the inaccurate depiction of Crossroads Utilities corporate structure.
Mr. Myers, you remember that during cross-examination, you were asked whether you recall if any of the questions the OUCC asked mentioned OK resources. Do you remember that question?
I do.
How many questions did the OUCC ask Crossroads?
Through these proceedings?
Yes.
I don't know that I know the answer to that, but it was in the several hundreds, if not thousand.
And how many customers does Crossroads have?
Roughly, approximately 1,400 customers.
You were asked a series of questions about the downstream from the Old Orchard lift station. And my question is, what is a prudent stopping point for examining the streams around a lift station when you're deciding whether to buy the system?
I think what you would do is, and which we did, is you review the historical records of the facility and you look at the outfall location, and you know, if you look for red flags, things that might indicate that there's something else going on, and if there's nothing else going on, then there's no reason to go investigate further. And that's really what, you know, in looking at the historical records of LMH and looking at the outfall and the quality of the water going out the outfall, there wasn't a red flag.
How many systems would you say you've been a part of acquiring?
In terms of acquisitions, I've probably been a part of over, if you're talking about true systems, and I'll give you maybe companies and systems, but 6 companies that total probably 1,200 systems.
Could you comment on the level of due diligence that you performed in the LMH acquisition relative to other acquisitions for which you've been a part?
It was either consistent with or more than I've seen in the past.
On the questions regarding Mr. Legaley's time, how do you know that the amount of time that was booked and charged to Crossroads is accurate?
I would say that, do I definitively know, but I know through conversation with Chris, kind of, you know, indications of how much time Chris has spent on Crossroads.
The testimony about the residence status of various employees was discussed. How does Crossroads make sure that there are adequate boots on the ground in the LMH, in the Crossroads system in Bright, Indiana?
We have, I think as I mentioned, we have what's called a computerized maintenance management system where we track where the guys log what activities they do. I'm sorry. We have what's called a computerized maintenance management system. The acronym is a CMMS system, and that tracks the guys' daily activities that they're doing from a day to day. And so we're able to use what are called key performance indicators and see what's their workload versus what we would expect the workload to be, and be able to determine what's the appropriate staffing levels.
Well, how many individuals actually are on the ground working at the system on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
Your Honor, it exceeds the scope of cross-examination.
Any response?
Yes. He was asked several questions about where do these employees live. They live in North Carolina. I think the implication is you have remote workers who aren't boots on the ground overseeing the system. And so I'm allowed to rehabilitate this witness and redirect him as to who actually is on the ground overseeing the system.
No overrule the objection, allow the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you remember the question, Mr. Myers?
Can you repeat it? Thank you.
How many individuals are actually boots on the ground at the system on a weekly or monthly basis?
There are 4 full-time people on LMH and 2 part-time people that are there. The 2 part-time people spend roughly, I would say, one individual spends 1 to 2 days a week on LMH. The other one is spending probably three days a week at LMH. And two of the individuals, one lives on the system. He's actually a customer. and the other one lives in Aurora.
On the issue of whether LMH was willing to make necessary improvements, what is your opinion?
It's pretty clear to me that LMH was not going to invest any more into the system. You know, the flow meter, while a significant expenditure, was a relatively small expenditure. And you see in the testimony, the hoops we had to jump through just to get that, which was a compliance matter, approved and installed into the system. So asking for anything substantial, you know, to be done to the system, LMH was not willing to invest in the system.
And did you or Crossroads seek out LMH to acquire it?
We did not, so LMH approached us.
You recall, turn your attention to cross-examination exhibit 2. It's the map with the different colored dots.
I've got it.
Why would it be that not all manholes that were reflected in the Banning Engineering appraisal were not found when the system was being surveyed?
Your Honor, I'm objecting to the question as asked and answered.
I can ask it a different way. The Banning estimate that was referenced in cross-examination, how does that compare with what people actually on the ground found when they went to televise and clean the system and map it?
Certainly there's differences, if that's what you're asking. The Banning report did not go out and conduct, as intensive surveys. I think a lot of their records came off, or a lot of their information came off of past records that they obtained from LMH.
And why is it in a system that someone misses a manhole?
As I mentioned earlier, there's lots of reasons you can not find a manhole when you're out. So things can grow over manholes. Manholes can be paved over when they're resurfacing. There's lots of reasons you can't find it. The maps that you're given aren't accurate, so it might say that, apologize to use the room as an illustration, it might say that the manhole is in this direction, whereas really the manhole is in this direction. And while that may seem like an inconsequential change of direction, when you're out there in the field looking for it, it's really hard to find it, particularly if it's covered up.
I have 1 minute, Your Honor. I have nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. The commission has a few questions.
Mr. Myers, just a few brief questions about affordability. When it comes to the terms rate shock and gradualism, how would you describe those in your words?
Well, rate shock, in my words, is whenever you have a large rate increase and, customers are given that rate increase, they'll tend to focus on kind of the percentage of the rate increase. I'm sorry, I know I need to speak to the microphone. And so, certainly the percentage of that rate increase gets to a certain point, customers see that and they're shocked by the percent of the rate increase. Oftentimes I'll tell people it's a lot better to do a number of small rate increases as you go through time versus waiting long periods of time and then hitting them with a large rate increase because the rate shock. And then you said, I think gradualism was the second. I think that's kind of the taking smaller rate increases over time is kind of how I would view that, come in, do smaller rate increases over time.
We've had a number of water, wastewater utilities that are under our jurisdiction that have requested rate increases in recent years and have requested that those be phased in 2, 3, and in some cases even 5 phases. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware of the concept, yes, sir.
Did Crossroads ever consider requesting that this increase be phased in?
Yeah, that's something that we have considered and something that we're open to.
Why did you opt against doing that in this case?
I don't know that I remember the exact reasons why we didn't. I think, one part of it is it's been so long since LMH has had a rate increase out there that, and when we got to kind of what's called the customer hearing, while there was a number of written responses, there was really only 6 individuals that showed up during the hearing and actually provided testimony. So it kind of signaled to us that, yes, while they were concerned about the rate shock, maybe they understood what we were trying to communicate and how long it had been since there had been a rate increase out there.
I appreciate your time and your answers. Thank you.
I wanted to follow up on the commissioner's question. Would you be willing to cut back the amount of increase, and if so, how much, and do it over time as opposed to all at once?
Certainly, I'm speaking, I do have another board member here, so it would take a vote of our board, but certainly we would be open to, I think, phasing in the rate increase over time. I think typically what we look at is maybe over a span of maybe 2 to 3 years, phasing things in.
Might behoove you to convey that to the OUCC.
I think we did.
And I have a couple of questions as well about EnviroLink's data collection efforts on the collection system and population of the GIS data. Were physical attributes of the manholes documented?
They are. So while that may not have shown up in the in the diamond maps thing as we indicated, there's actually physical photos of the manholes that document the condition, the condition of the manholes, the attributes of the manholes. So somebody referencing that can go to the actual photos of the manholes.
So the photos document, for instance, the lid type?
They would, yes.
And diameter?
They would.
Wall construction?
They would.
Cone type?
Yeah.
Invert and rim elevations?
They would not indicate that, but they would indicate a lot of those.
Channel construction?
It would show the channel construction.
Location?
Would not show the location.
Why wouldn't these data be appended to diamond map system?
Can you ask that question again?
Would those physical attributes be used in the diamond map system, for instance?
They could be populated in there if you're asking that. Yes, sir.
And why weren't they?
That effort, I would say that there's still, as we go through, some of them are being updated. We see this as kind of a living document, so it gets populated. There's data being added to it all the time.
Okay, and so that data collection is ongoing?
No, the data collection is complete, but the data entry, that information. And as guys go out into the field and they collect, maybe they find a manhole that wasn't found, that data is brought in.
So when a manhole is found, are those data then updated?
They are.
Have you entered any evidence suggesting that the diamond map system has been updated with physical attributes of manholes?
Not to my knowledge.
I'd like to discuss 2 documents we've admitted into the evidence today. and then take administrative notice of another document. So unless there are objections, we'll go off the record and then distribute those.
Your Honor, what was, besides administrative notice 1, you mentioned there was another
Yeah,
document?
we'll have Public's Exhibit number 2. There's a specific attachment within that.
And whose testimony is that?
Mr. Compton's. And spoiler alert, I'm going to be going to JTC 30. Have you arrived at JCC 30?
I think so.
Okay, I think we're ready to go back on the record. So you're at JTC 30,
Yes, sir.
and this represents a response from Crossroads to an OUCC document request.
It does.
And if I might direct you to question 9.7B, says, please see attached DR attachment 97B. See what I'm referring to there?
In the response? Yes,
Correct.
sir. Yes, sir.
And then if you flip to the next page, you'll see a document labeled Exhibit E.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
This appears to be part of the agreement between Crossroads and Envirolink for services. This would be what's called their preferred client rate schedule.
So that's DR attachment 97B Exhibit E.pdf that you referenced in response to the data request?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then if you look back to the top of Exhibit E, there's a DocuSign label. What's that indicate to you?
I'm sorry, where was your reference?
At the top of Exhibit E, you see there's a
see it.
DocuSign envelope ID.
I do.
You have experience with DocuSign?
I do.
What's that indicate to you?
Well, that is, to my knowledge, that's a kind of a unique identifier for so if you wanted to go pull it from DocuSign, it gives you a reference of kind of verifying that the document was signed.
Right. All right, let's go back. I believe you have Crossroads Exhibit 8. And so if you look on the first page, let me know when you're there.
Your Honor, did you say cross-examination Exhibit 8?
My understanding is this is Crossroads Direct Exhibit
Sorry,
A.
I didn't hear you. Where are we looking at?
Crossroads Exhibit A to this hearing. These are the docket entry question responses.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I've got the right document, so.
Oh, it's Petitioner's Exhibit 8. Let's go off the record while we make sure you have the right document.
There we go. Okay.
You recognize this document?
I do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back on the record. You recognize this document?
I do.
What is it?
This is the responses to the IURC's questions.
I'd like you to read question 1B.
On what date did Crossroads submit the affiliated contract reflecting the rates in DR attachment 9-7B Exhibit E .PDF to the commission?
Excellent. And if you go to the second page, bullet point B, what's that?
It starts with the affiliated agreement.
You can summarize.
Okay. This looks like our response to indicate when that was submitted to the IURC.
And this response indicates that it's attached as IURC DR1.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's turn there now. It should be the 12th page of this document.
Does it look like an email from Nikki Schultz? Is that?
No, it should say affiliated interest agreement. It's dated August 27th, 2024.
I was one page short, sorry.
You see that document?
I do.
All right, and let's keep flipping. Should be the 39th page. You'll get to a document that says Exhibit E.
I think I'm there.
You're there? Now, let's go back to the document that we were just referencing, DR 97B. Let's keep both open and see if you notice any differences between the two documents.
The fact that the DocuSign's not on there? Yes, sir.
Let's look at the rates, too.
Where was that first one?
The first document, I believe that was Public's Exhibit 2, Attachment JTC 30, Exhibit E.
Keep that one over here. What was your reference again on Public's number 2?
Public's Exhibit number 2, Mr. Compton's testimony, JTC 30.
I'm there. Gotcha.
And this is the DR attachment 97B Exhibit E.PDF, correct?
Correct.
All right, let's go back to the response to the docket entry questions. Do you see differences between the two versions of Exhibit E?
I do.
What are the differences?
The one in Exhibit, or IURC's Petitioner 8, the rates tend to be lower than the rates that are on this sheet here.
Okay. And so they're two different documents?
It would appear so. Yep.
And the docket entry response, if we flip back to page 2 of that, that notes that was provided to the commission on August 28th, 2024, correct?
Yes, sir.
But we don't have any response as to when or whether the DR attachment 97B Exhibit E was actually provided to the commission, correct?
I don't see anything in here.
Do you know whether it was provided?
I do not off the top of my head.
Do you recall whether the commission provided any input on the affiliate agreement?
I do remember there being dialogue on the 15% markup back and forth between us and commission staff.
Can you summarize that back and forth?
They had asked for, I think it had to do with the lower of cost or market rates, and so we had provided some information to demonstrate what market rates were for the markup, and I think to clarify that the markup applied to cost, as an example, like subcontractors that, that Envirolink may have to hire that were not part of the contract.
And so now let's turn to IURC Administrative Notice Exhibit 1.
I think I got it here.
Do you see the addressees of this email?
I do.
And your name is included among them?
I do.
Was an updated affiliate agreement ever provided to the commission?
I don't remember there being one, but I'm unsure.
You don't know one way or the other?
I don't recall there being one, but
Thank you for your testimony today. I have no further questions. You're dismissed. Anything further from petitioner?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, we'll call to the stand Gary Verdow.
what do I do?
Oh, let's go off the record.
What do I do with all this? Let me organize it for you, please. IURC. That's Publix.
Bless you.
Turning this off.
7. Yep.
We're back on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Crossroads calls to the stand Gary Verdow. Mr. Verdow, would you please state your name and indicate by whom and in what capacity you're employed?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Gary Verdow. Last name is spelled capital V-E-R, capital D-O-U-W, all one word.
Thank you. You have in front of you what's been marked for identification as Petitioner's Exhibit 7.
I do.
Please identify that document.
It is my verified rebuttal testimony and exhibits in this case.
Filed on April 7th, 2026.
Correct.
Mr. Verdow, was this testimony written by you or at your direction?
It was.
And do you have any additions or corrections to your testimony?
I have some minor corrections I can make at this time.
Okay.
The first one is on page 19, line 12. At an incorrect amount on line 12, I have $795,592. It should be $861,239. And that was a typo. It doesn't affect any of the numbers in the case.
Could you state that number again, please?
Sure, the number should be 861,239.
And you've made that correction and initialed it?
I have.
Okay, next correction.
Second one is on page 24, line 1. I have chemical expense system development adjustment. It should be chemical expense system delivery adjustment. So development should be changed to delivery. I've made that and marked it.
Next change.
Page 31. Lines 1 and line 5. I have on line 1, it says an adjustment to reduce contractual services. It should be, the reduce should be increase. It was a flip of the sign and I missed it. And then on line 5, same correction. Reduce should be changed to increase. So I've made those adjustments. And then the last adjustment I have is on page 34. And that adjustment's being made in response to the IURC data requests that were sent out last week. It required me to change this response. So on line 7, after the end of the first sentence where it says Crossroads customers, period, I want to add, through discovery, comma, it has been found that EnviroLink billed the monthly services for September/December 2024 at an incorrect rate, resulting in an overbilling of $3,108. Crossroads agrees in this adjustment. I'll make that one first. And then the second adjustment would be on line 9. And the end of line 9, it says no adjustment. I'm going to delete no adjustment and instead replace it with only an adjusted, pardon me, only an adjustment of 3,108.
Have you made those corrections?
I have.
Does that complete your corrections?
It is. Thank you for giving me the time to do that.
Mr. Verdal, if I were to ask you the questions contained in your testimony along with the corrections that you've just made, would your answers today be the same as is reflected in the document?
Yes, they would.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we'll offer into evidence what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 7.
Objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. We will show Petitioner's Exhibit 7 admitted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. With that, the petitioner rests.
Thank you. Counsel for the public?
We've waived cross-examination, Your Honor.
Thank you. Dismissed.
Thank you.
Back on the record. Anything from the public?
No, Your Honor, I think we, no, the OECC has rested, Your Honor.
And I understand from a proposed order standpoint that you will be waiting on the transcript in this case?
Yes, and I understand from our court reporter that we can expect a transcript on June 8th. So accordingly, we would propose to submit petitioner's proposed order on June 15th. I think the OUCC indicated 3 weeks is what it needed after that, which puts it at July 6th.
If I may, I just want to check the calendar. I think we knew that was a floating date, so I just want to make sure that there's not a conflict or a problem with that date. Nikki, I'd like to do it on July 8th. I'd like to do it on July 8th. It's the Monday after the 4th of July weekend.
That's fine. So OUCC's exceptions would be July 8th, and then the reply from petitioner could be July 15th.
Excellent. Anything further?
Nothing from petitioner, Your Honor.
Hearing nothing further, we are adjourned.
Thank you.